I found out that he was cheating.
I find out.
Yo!
How do you find out?
A lady came to me. We had so much fun with your man last night. Well, we see the red flags and we just push them under the carpet, And the discernment, we have a discernment. A woman has a discernment, and we choose to just ignore.
So welcome to Engineer Your Life.
Thanks.
It's a privilege to finally have you here.
Thank you so much, Lungelo. Thank you so much. And I very much appreciate the opportunity I get to be here, to sit here and share my story.
Thank you so much. Usis Kollega, in a nutshell, you've got a beautiful name, by the way, because it reminds me of a very amazing singer.
Yes.
Would you say in any way do you resonate with her? Because even your demeanor, man, there's that, mama, a respectable woman.
Okay, when it comes to that,
well,
the gospel part,
yes,
we do resonate with each other, but I don't know if I'm a good singer, but yes, I do sing. So, but when it comes to gospel side of the thing, what she is, then yes, I am very much I'm very much spiritual.
Okay.
Coupled with, there's spirituality, there's also religious part. It's coupled with being religious as well.
Okay.
My spirituality. So we do resonate.
Why allow yourself to fall in love at the age of 19?
Hey, Fandine. In fact, I think it was a thing of, when you are growing up, you are naive, man. You don't know things, you understand? So, at that time, as a child, you are like, you think life is all about that.
Okay.
That was what was happening with me. If you don't have a person, you are not going to be a person enough at that time, So that's how I felt. So, and then I went with it, the falling in love at 19. At 19, I was supposed to be looking at how life should be for me. I was supposed to be planning. Though I was planning, but I decided to let myself be distracted. I'll put it that way.
Sure. Would you say a person who falls in love at 19, to be honest, you're being distracted? It's not as real as you think it is.
Yeah. At 19, I don't think it's possible at 19 falling in love, because it comes with problems unless you find your best friend and you don't rush into anything. You just take it easy. You can fall in love, then continue with being best friend. Best friend part of loving each other.
I hear you.
Very, very important. You see, so that's what I didn't have in my relationship.
You're saying at 19, you're saying you can be in love, but pace yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just take your time.
Yeah.
Don't rush into anything.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the society, because most of us fall in love and then we listen to the society and we do things not according to what we have planned for our lives. You understand? And then we listen to the noise out there. And then we are like, you know what? Because I want to belong, so let me just do it this way. And then it catches up with us later on, Because, for example, I got married at a very, very young age. I was about 23 when I got married. And ask me if I regret it.
I'll ask you later. Before we get there, love is beautiful. As much as you can say one should pace themselves, there is no correct formula with love. Rightfully so, there are principles we should maintain, boundaries we should set, so on and so forth. But there aren't the right principles. And we all want to fall in love. we all want to feel like we belong to ourselves and to someone in the idea and in the comfort and safety of love, right? Take me back to that day when you met your then love of your life at the age of 19.
Okay. I just okay. I'll take you a little bit back.
Okay.
So I failed my matric. So I used to go to my aunt. I come from Eastern Cape.
Okay.
I was born in the Eastern Cape, and then I would go and see my aunt sometimes in Bloemfontein. We have a family in Bloemfontein. So I would just travel, see my aunt, come back and all that. In that time, when I went to see my aunt, then that's where I met him in Bloemfontein, because he was speaking Xhosa, like I was like, oh, there's a Xhosa person here and all that. So it was a thing of
You felt at home.
language.
You felt
yes,
at home.
Yes. So okay. He approached me. It was a very nice thing that we got together and all that. But I didn't know him immediately, like I started knowing other people first, and then I knew him through other people,
Sure.
his friends and all that. So that's how I knew him then. Yeah, he started talking Xhosa, but the Xhosa for me was not Xhosa enough,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, okay, because he's in Bloemfontein, it doesn't really mean that he is not Xhosa, because
Sure.
when I asked him, where are you coming from and everything, so he mentioned Lusikisiki.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the place. It's in-
Absolutely. Lusigisi. Yengoza municipality. Ne? Well researched.
So he mentioned that to me. So I was like, okay, another Xhosa guy. I like them. I'm for some reason, I'm very, very crazy about Xhosa people, as if I'm not, and I am. So yeah. And then, that's when we met.
When you realize that you are now in love,
When we would talk for hours in the phone, because, remember, I would go to Bloemfontein and go back home.
Okay.
So he would start calling, and we would start talking and talking for a very long time. And I was like, wow, I like this guy. I want to see him more, So, that's when I realized that, no, I want him. I just want him in my life, Yeah.
between 19 and 23 is 4 years before you get married. Is it all just honeymoon phase, roses, petals everywhere, beauty, no issues in that first 4 years before you get married?
We're actually in a long distance relationship.
Okay.
For some time, for a very long time. Even at 23, we were not married officially. It was a thing of tradition, Otherwise, there were no documents that were saying
Sure.
we were married. So I was busy trying to plan my life at the same time as I was in love, but I was busy also trying to plan my life, So what happened in between, I got a job in Durban. Remember, I failed matric.
Okay.
You see, so I got a job in Durban as a waitress. There was this guy that used to date my cousin, so he liked my English and all. He was an Indian guy. Then he happened to call me, and he said, can you work as a waitress here in my restaurant? I didn't even know that he left Eastern Cape, because he used to have business in Eastern Cape. So I was like, okay, who's this? And then he told me his name. I was like, oh, no, not a problem at all. For me, it was like, yay, So I told my family. Nobody was happy that I was going away, because especially my grandmother, because I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather. I told my dad as well. My dad has been involved in my life. So I told my dad as well that I got a job, because nobody had money to take me anywhere. I couldn't go to finishing school to finish my matric. So if I'm just going to sit and do nothing, my life is not going to amount to anything.
Sure.
So
I'd rather go to Durban and do something.
Sure. So they gave me money. Okay, fine. Take the money for transport, go. But my grandmother made it clear that I don't like this. I don't know. But okay, I give you blessings. Just go. I left. I went to Durban. I told him, my boyfriend at the time, I told him that, look, I got a job in Durban as a waitress. So, I'm going to work there, and I just need to study when I get there. I need to finish my matric. I didn't know how. Remember, nobody has ever seen university
In your
door
village, yeah.
in my family, in
Yeah.
my family in the house.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever. So I have no one to actually guide
Reference,
me
yeah,
how to
yeah,
do this.
absolutely.
You know, otherwise, other family members, external, yes, there are people who are
Mm-hmm.
very educated, but like,
People
how it
live
is.
their lives.
Yes, you know
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
is with family. So I went to Durban. I I worked in that place, and then I started. I registered with Damelin College. So I went to Damelin College for computer, So I did the computer course there. And whilst I was busy working, I did modeling as well. I tried to find a modeling agency. I found it, and I did modeling as well. Then I heard that modeling pays. What made me go there is because where I come from, I used to do beauty pageants.
Okay.
So I would win a lot.
Sure.
Even on my first one, I won. I was number one. I was the queen. So that motivated me to actually find a modeling agency, which I did in Durban. And I was very good. I was in Abosoles, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I lived
yeah,
my
yeah.
life there. I kept on changing. To me, it was more like,
An evolution of yourself.
yes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was working for this small restaurant. Now I found another one, a little bigger one, and then I got a little bigger.
You were taking the steps.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Until I went to I don't know if I may
Sure.
say the word,
Yeah.
to the Roma Revolving Restaurant.
Yes, I remember that.
Whoa. That's why I really made, I would say, a serious money that side, So, anfika khona ke ndasebenza khona, and then I registered with UNISA.
Okay.
That's when I started knowing things now.
Now
Okay.
you can work and study.
Yes, and study, and then people were talking as well.
Sure.
You can study, you can go to varsity, and still, Then that's when I registered with UNISA as well. Ndaqhubeka ke, yabona Roma Revolving, and it was very nice. I was like just living life, man.
Sure.
I had my own apartment in the same building as the restaurant, the Roma.
John Ross.
Yes, John Ross house.
Yes.
I was staying there.
Yeah.
The life was good.
Yeah.
I was gymming, Virgin Active, and I didn't even need transport.
You were that ghetto.
I would walk to the gym, So, I was living my life, and he later came and saw where I lived, and then, he would come and visit me.
Okay. So he was still in Bloem.
He left that. By that time, he was in Nelspruit, working now. Because
So
we blow.
now in a long-distance relationship between Durban and Nelspruit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he was already working. Because in Bloem, he was still a student as well.
Okay.
So he left to Nelspruit. He was working in Nelspruit. So he started coming to see me, long distance still. Started coming to visit me in John Ross, and then life would be good. I didn't have a car. He had a car. So whenever he comes, obviously we go everywhere and everything, we enjoy ourselves. Up until we decided that, it's time now. We cannot do this, because I would also visit him in Nelspruit. And he would, sometimes I would fly, sometimes I would just take a bus, he would just collect me wherever. So we decided later on that, no, it has to go to another level. Well, I would be expecting ukuthi ahlale phansi athi, can you please marry me?
So you didn't get that?
No, I didn't get that. But as a young and naive person at that time, I was like, it doesn't matter. He's my man. He's my person, So, then we decided he said, okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to go to your home, and I'm going to send people there and everything. So, things started to happen.
Okay.
Towards the marriage now, but... And we went through with the traditional and all that, traditional marriage and all that, but I got pregnant before we signed officially. Then I got pregnant with the first child, which he asked for, by the way.
Okay.
Yes, he asked for. He said, "No, it's time to have a child now," and all that. I felt ready, So I was like, okay, why not? In my mind, I'm like, I'm studying. And how am I going to do this?
And I'm working.
I'm working at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah, yeah.
How am I going to do this? You know,
Sure.
so I told myself, you know what? I should just trust him.
Okay.
You know, I was raised by a parent who would tell me, parents actually, but my grandfather passed away like I was still at school at that time. So my grandmother continued. So my grandmother would say, listen, Danam, a man is there to be respected. I know you guys can be very clever. You know, you are a woman that would like taking things with her own hands.
Sure.
But I want to tell you right now, give a man a chance.
Okay.
If you found a good man, he's going to lead you to where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
If you found a bad one, tough.
Yeah.
But you will learn from that experience. You know?
Yeah.
So those things, they
Resonated.
stay
Yeah, and they
in my
stay.
mind.
Hey family, thank you so much for being loyal to Engineering Your Life. I know that if you're watching this, you're probably here for the second time or the third time. And please, if you're here for the second, third time, please may you kindly subscribe, because if you subscribe, it helps us to get better conversation, get better guests, and get access to creating the best content that we can for you. So please don't forget to subscribe and make sure you continue watching this episode.
Yeah.
I was raised to be submissive. So I wanted to do that. I'm going to give my man a chance to lead me. And then, we continue with our lives. Hopefully, he will lead me correctly.
Yeah.
You see, so that's what I did with him
You had your firstborn
in 2005.
in 2005. So the marriage starts, and it's a normal marriage, the normal situations. You guys respect each other, you love each other. When do you move to the same city?
Hey, I wouldn't say respect though, because there were those, yes, we did love each other, but the respect, it was only one-sided.
How?
It was only one-sided because when I visit him, and then there are friends, everything would be fine at home.
Okay.
When I visit him, and there would be times even when he would be broke and I would send him money. Remember, I was working as a waitress, so I always had cash.
Yeah.
So I would just send him money. Sometimes he would ask for petrol and everything.
Yeah.
I would send him. Even when I visit in his place, I would find a fridge very, very empty.
Yeah.
I would just
Clean it out.
Yes, I had a Woolworths card, so we would go to Woolworths and buy groceries and everything. So when we are with his friends, he would be a totally different person.
How?
He would I'm not allowed to talk. I'm not allowed to say anything. Like if I ask something, he would be like, "Hey man, hey,
Yeah.
what is this?"
Yeah.
Okay, at that time, as I said, I was naive. I just wanted my life to go the way I wanted to go. So, okay, at home, I would ask, what was that? Because remember, I was raised to be submissive.
So you must listen.
Yeah, I must listen
Yeah.
in front of everybody. I wouldn't say anything, because I want to be that woman, that submissive woman. But at home, I would ask him, what was that all about? I couldn't keep quiet. And I'm that person. If anything is wrong, I really talk, So if I feel like there's something wrong, I really talk. So he would just ignore me. What? As if nothing happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I decided to just strip that out of the carpet, under the carpet, ukuthi mhlambe, asikazani kahle ubone, so uzoba right mhlambe as time goes. Hayi kwaqhubeka ke. So coming to your question now, ukuthi when did we finally move in together? When I found out that I was pregnant.
For the second time.
The first.
That was still the first one.
That was still the first one.
Okay.
In 2000, I found out that I was pregnant and I couldn't continue with work. Now I'm a waitress, remember? So now being pregnant and all that, I can't continue then. We moved in together in his nail split in his house.
Okay.
Well, it was not an ideal place for me, honestly, but because love. Love. So he was staying.
So really mean like hoping I stand.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it. He was staying in Likazi, in Nelspruit, the back room there.
Yeah.
So I was like, we'll make it work, so now this is dozame kaya ke furniture yam from my apartment and all other things and everything, ukuthi nje hayi ke ngoku life yaqala ke
with my man.
With my man.
Yeah.
So, and sahlala ke Soweto in 2005 and I was pregnant. I was already pregnant. I was like 2 weeks pregnant when we continued in 2005. And then that's when everything like started, where I got to a realization that it looks like I think I made a mistake here.
2005, during your pregnancy or after you give birth is the time when it goes wrong. When was it?
It started during my pregnancy.
Yeah,
my
just
son.
when you started living together.
Yes, when we started living together, even women, he was a party person. He used to like partying and all that. I am more of an introvert, whether you believe it or not. I know I talk a lot, but I like my space too much, you know. So I was not a partying person, but I would go with him wherever he would want me to go with him. But anyone could tell ukuthi hayi lo akabelongi la. You know, so, but I would still go with him because he's
Submissive woman, remember? Yes, and he's your man. And he must lead you.
he must lead me,
Yeah.
you know. So he's an umbrella. That thing of he's an umbrella.
Sure,
As
sure.
well, okay. Let's just do what you want to do, you know. And then
What went wrong in 2005?
in 2005, he would be partying. It never bothered me. He goes to parties. Remember, I like my space. So it would be okay for me ukuthi alalambe nje. Yabona ndibe right, ndibe yi-one endlini, kubone. But up until I found out that he was cheating.
I find out.
Yo.
How do you find out?
A lady came to me. Wangixela into yobana nje, we had so much fun with your man last night. Ukuthi undaze laphi unganibuza mas andazi. Ungandibuzi. I looked at her and I was like, really? Did she really have to tell me that?
Where does she come to you?
She came to me besikwenye ipati ikhona enye ipati esasikuyo mos ebengumuntu wamapati andithi ikhona enye ipati esasikuyo and engathi i-festival carnival whatever but bekugcwele nje kule ndawo besikuyo ne so ubhutiza lo wam uyokhama uya etoilet so lo sisi afike athi hi kunjani mina ke ndibona nje umuntu ozibulisela yabona athi yo hayi sana your man can party yazi nje we had a very good time with him last weekend nake andinaso andingomuntu wesikhwele ne and I'm like okay what am I going to do? I mean, what am I going to say?
Sure.
And I was like, oh, okay, you know, that was it with me. And then I asked him, always I ask because I avoid drama, man. So ndiyambuza endlini ndithi mina yazi ukhona usisi oze kum wathi they had so much fun with you and all that. Man suhambe woya zonke izinto. Uyabona that would be his response. In my mind, and also he was very good with manipulating my mind, hey? He was very, very good. He would just say stories that would make me see things his way. You understand? So I would be like, okay, you know, for me, okay, it's fine then. It doesn't matter. And then there's that thing also that old people say to us. Jonga, uyajola, it's fine, but ukhethe wena. Yaba leyo nto. So it's always there. It's always there because khuliswa ngayo lento. Ukuthi andithi ukhethe from the million.
Yeah.
So yintoni problem yakho?
He has so many options, but in his house there's you.
Yes. But forgetting ukuthi nam I had so many options. Iyabona le. But that khetha yena. Kutheni ingathi one-sided umkhetho.
Yeah.
Yaba nama could have chosen anybody.
Yeah.
Yaba leyo nto. So I was like, okay, let me just ngoba ke khethwe mna vele. And I really didn't like it that I was pregnant because at that time I would have left right then.
Sure.
You know, I stayed. Wabakhona umntwana. Yabona, remember I cannot drive. I still cannot drive. Even though my uncle tried shame ukundifundisa ukulenda ukudrive but I couldn't. Fine. Depende kuye entirely because andisebenzi ke ngoku at that time. Into endiye ndayilibala futhi the time ndisedurban ndayenza imatric yami as well.
Okay.
Ndaye ndayigqibezela imatric yami
Sure.
ndayipasa. So nje ndakwazi ke ukunantsika ukuqhubeka neUNISA and everything like
Yeah.
that yabo. So ngoku ndihleli lezo modules ke.
Okay.
Yabona endingagqibanga because ndandisenza idiploma. So nje andigqibanga idiploma, ndihleli lezo modules ndihleli necertificate setameli yama. And Nelspruit ke ngoku. Depended entirely
On him.
kuye. Yabo? Salary yakhe and everything. But apho besihlala khona okay sesatshintsha ke elokishini ke ngoku. Yangathi life iba right. wafumana omnye umsebenzi futhi apha emsebenzini wakhona they were paying for his accommodation. Yes, they were paying for his accommodation and he was earning a lot.
Okay.
He was earning a lot. That's when everything started to be okay with him. And I feel ukuthi nje futhi ndimoza nalanhlahla pha. Anyway, so sahlala ke. I'm telling you Lungelo Jonga, besihlala pha endlini ne. Bezikhona mos imitha taxi ngelaa xesha not i-Uber and or ne-Bolt kanje. I don't think bezikhona.
Yeah, the meter taxis back then.
But imitha taxi biyinto bendisebenzisa kwase-Durban.
Okay.
Bendisebenzisa imitha taxi a lot. So nje bekwenzeka ngenye ixesha cause akakho available andithi and angikwazi ukudriver. Bezikhona imoto ziyi-2. Bendihamba ngeenyawo ke ekliniki yabona cause usemsebenzini andithi. But I didn't think to myself ukuthi why ndingabizela imitha taxi na apha ndihambe ndiye ekliniki. I didn't think like that, I was like it's up there where to eat and walk. And I would walk and go to the clinic. Nangoku sazelwe umntana by the way uyabona. Okay, qala nje I'm not on his medical aid.
And he's doing well now.
And he's doing well now. He is he is in the medical aid.
Sure.
Ayezalwa umntwana wamfaka ku-medical aid immediately.
But not you.
Not me. Ndimane ndizibuza ezi questions yabona kunalaa nto ke kuthiwa kumchallenge agqitha umuntu wesilisa yabo. So I had that thing yokuthi hey, if I'm gonna be nagging too much here kuzokonakala.
Sure, it will ruin the relationship if I'm nagging too much here.
I was not asking him about medical aid and all that. Did I? Okay, ngoba mhlawumbe andikayitshintshe name. I don't know. Yeah, because bendingekayitshintshe name that time. Mane ndisiya ke ngenyawo ke ekliniki and all that. Ndibuye. And he was not bothered ukuthi ndiya ngeenyawo ekliniki. He was not bothered at all. At all. Zikhona imoto zi-2 akho ndithi makakandifundisa ukuqhuba, hayibo ndabona ke ngoku wangathi uyakhula umntwana. Well, I don't know if I should say unfortunately or fortunately, because umntwana is the second one is a very big boy, very beautiful boy that I got, but a little too early.
Okay.
So I got pregnant again. I was very angry at myself. I was very
How
upset
soon
myself.
after the first giving birth did you get pregnant again?
1.5 years. One,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that other one was still in nappies.
Yo.
Yo. I wanted to die.
Yeah.
I was like, what did I do to myself? What's going on? What is this?
Yeah. Are you fully married by then?
By then, no, the time is still, we don't have we're still there.
in limbo.
Yes.
Yeah, you're still not on the medical aid?
I'm still not on the medical aid.
You got your own surname?
Yes.
Now you're pregnant again.
I'm pregnant again. And I'm like, yo, izawuthina ke ngoku le nto? Hey, hayi wathi yena nje, hayi anangxaki mna. In my mind, I'm like, you wouldn't have, because ndibona ngathi nje wena ufuna i-control nje over mna.
Sure.
Because really, and then wavela nalo wesibini umntwana, ndisakhulelwe ndinjalo lo wesi-2 umntwana ne. Ndihambe ngeenyawo vele ngondikhulelwe lo wesi-2 umntwana, ndiphusha iprem, ndise lo omnye ekliniki, ndisa isisu sami ekliniki as well. Ndihamba ngeenyawo, uyabona. Andikakakwazi ukudriver still. Okay, fine. Ndimbuze, ndiqonda hayi awuthi ke ndimbuze ngale nto le medical aid because this is risky. I am pregnant again. Kanti kutheni ndingekho ku-medical aid? Because the first pregnancy ndiye ndayodeliver kwi-government hospital, and in my experience kula government hospital bendideliver kuyo was very bad. Very bad.
Yeah.
So that's what pushed me to actually ask him ukuthi mfondini ndingena nini kule medical aid?
Sure.
Uyabona, because hayi ngeke, I cannot go through that again. Uyabona, kuphi khona zange andifake ama-excuse wakhe. I couldn't even hear ukuthi athini nje ama-excuse wakhe. The second child ndamfumana kwi-government still.
Same hospital?
Another one in Nelspruit now. The first one I in Queenstown. I went home.
You went back
First
home.
one.
Yeah. Yes.
Hayi ndabona ukuthi ndizawufa apha. Uba ndizawuhlala apha,
Sure.
ndizawufa. Ndagoduka. Second one in Nelspruit ngoba senayo experience anyana. But what is wafa umntanami? Yo. The time I was giving birth, udoctor wabuza, kanti wena ustresswa yintoni? Uyabona? I just cried. I just broke down and cried because that was it. That was a lot.
What was stressing you, in your opinion, looking back during that second pregnancy?
Being controlled.
Okay.
I couldn't be myself at all. I promised myself I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Okay. I'm not crying. I couldn't be myself, right? And I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be this educated person, driving person, I just wanted to be more in life.
Have your own identity.
Yes, but I just couldn't be myself.
Sure.
That was very frustrating for me. And at home as well, as much as other people would see as if I'm being taken care of, in the closed doors, it's not like that at all.
Sure.
We wouldn't be having food in the house up until someone would call and say, I am visiting. That's when the food is going to be bought. I was like, Haibu, this can't be normal. I didn't grow up like this. Ekhaya bengathenga ukutya ngoba naba abantu kukuza abantu bazovisitor, I know kuthiwa masingajongi ii-situations zethu sizicompare nasemakhaya, but the way esikhule ngakhona sometimes it has that impact empilweni yethu, uyabona. So I was like, is this normal though? Ukuthi singabi nakutya, athi umuntu akanamali yokuthenga ukutya. But if there's anybody who will call and say, I'm coming to visit, there will be food immediately. And abo bantu abo bazayo, andithi bazobona taken care of. Andithi abazobona next. Lungelo, kumntana wokuqala, nakulo wesibini, ebengithengela amanapukeni we-towel.
That you had to wash daily.
I had to wash those nappies up until usister-in-law wakhe. He has two sister-in-laws. One of them came and visited. Wabona wathi hayibo, what is this? These days akusetshenziswa ezinto. Yintoni le kwenzeka ntoni apha? That's when I knew ukuthi nje, okay, this is not normal then. If somebody else is gonna react like this, there's nothing normal about what is happening. Lo sisi wanthengela. Lo sisi lona, she's been an angel, hey. Wafika wathenga ukudla qala. She saw ukuthi there's no enough food here for umuntu oncancisayo. Uyabona, as a mother, she knows ukuthi I eat, I have to, because I'm breastfeeding. Athenga ukutya, wagcwalisa ifridge lo sisi. Wagqiba apho wathi masambe sothengela abantwana impahla. Saphuma sahamba sothengela abantwana impahla. It's not easy to forget that one, eh? She came at the right time. When watenga lo sisi ne, and what I liked about her, she's not a person who has expectations at all when she helps you. I didn't know that. I always didn't want help from anybody because of the expectations, Me, I always rejected help because of the expectations, because people have expectations, and I know I'm not a people's pleaser.
Yeah.
So that's why I always rejected help. But she came, she just, azangathandi semna, she was, thank you so much. She was like, let's just go, mna andenzeli wena yonke lento.
Yeah.
Denzela abantwana.
Sure.
Let's
Because
just go.
they're in need.
Yes. She said, let's just go and buy izinto zabantwana. And you're not going to say no. Sathenga izinto zabantwana. Futhi nje not from any shop, by the way. We went to Woolworths. I remember very well. Wathenga izinto zabantwana lo sisi, and then wahamba. Watsho nje ukuthi hayi, no bendithi ndizondibona nje, uyabona. People like that in a situation, when you are in that situation, you really need people, And then she left. Then there was food. When he came back from home, from thingy,
Work.
and he used to travel a lot, even with work. So I think he was not there for days. And then when he finally came back, he saw there's food. And he knows I don't have money. But he didn't. He just asked, oh, okay, sibuya phi? And I was like, oh, okay, usisimakile kakhona ne. So she paid, she bought and all that. He didn't like it. He didn't like it. He didn't even say thank you. And my son, as a result, because it was in winter, my son was born in May. So it was in winter and it was cold, very cold. So as a result, he started being sick. And then he had bronchopneumonia, and he was supposed, he had, it was only 10 days when he was born, 10 days. And then he was admitted in hospital in, what is this hospital again? It's a private hospital. I don't know what is it. In another private hospital. I had to be there because I am breastfeeding. Then my daughter now, she's still young.
She has
still
to
a
be there
baby,
as well.
but they don't allow the children because she will get things
Okay.
from the hospital. So they didn't allow her to be there. Then the family had to intervene, his family. They had to intervene. Luckily, his mother is a person that is loving to the children. His mother came over and then she took the small one
Okay.
to Joburg. The mother is in Joburg. By the way, he was born in Joburg. I didn't know that until later on in life. Then the mother came, took umntwana, then wahamba naye, so that I can have time to actually
In hospital there.
take care of lo omnye. Yes, and the sister also. He's a twin. He has a twin sister. So the sister also was there. The sister also came. I remember when she came, she made sure that there's frozen veggies in the fridge for me, for my life to be easier, so that I don't know whether she was doing it for me or for her brother. I really don't know, but she did that. She took the veggies, all fresh veggies, and chopped them and put them in the freezer, So at least life was better after that, Then, before I went to hospital with the boy, with the second born, I couldn't clean. I just gave birth, right? So I couldn't clean the house. I was like hoping he's going to find somebody to actually help me in the house because the house was dirty. I couldn't do anything. I had 2 babies that looked like twins. So I couldn't do anything. If another one sleeps, another one wakes up. The nap is ngapha ngapha, uyabona leyo nto. Ebefika indlu ingcolile lo bhuti andithuke. Kumdaka manapha. Kumdaka apha waye ungaklinanga. Kanjani? Diklina kanjani? Taking care of abantwana bakhe. Abangathi ngama twins. Ndiyaqaqanjelwa. Mna qala andikakapholi umzimba wami. Ndiyaqaqanjelwa. How do I clean? Uyabona? Hey. Hayi, ndivele ndimjonge bendingasamphenduli yasi. Bendingasaphenduli nix, bendimane ndimjonge nje xa ethukisa esenza yonke le nto yakhe. Ndiqonde the last thing I need is a scar on my face. Let me just keep quiet. And ukhona futhi usisi owathi kum ndithetha naye ndimxelela ngale problem. Ingathi is the very same sister-in-law, I don't remember very well. Owathi jonga sisi, khakufocus apha ebantwaneni bakho, abantwana bayakhula. They are not going to be that little forever.
Yeah.
Focus wena apha ebantwaneni bakho, myeka kuthuka kubize yonke le nto akubiza yona, just focus ebantwaneni. Abantwana bayakhula. Uyabona? Don't worry about what he wants at this time. Hey, yahlala loo nto kum. And that's exactly what I needed actually. Uyabona those words. Da focus ebantwaneni bam, ndahamba ke ndolala esibhedlele nalo second lo second born keke. Lo omnye first born ihambe nomamakhe njalo. Hey, unhlukumezile umuntu wabantu. Thixo, ono faith. Yazi as I talk now ndicinga back ngoku ndi-pregnant the second baby. Lo muntu lona ebehamba, sorry to say, lo muntu lona, uyabona, because right now that's all he is to me. Ebevele ahambe abheke kokwabo le emakhaya ke ngoku e-Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Andishiye, I was 9 months pregnant when he left me. Nalo umntwana uyintombazana. 9 months pregnant. Ndiyazibuza uba he. Makuthiwa ndiyalunywa ke ngoku ndiyobeleka. Izawuthini ke ngoku le nto ngoba lo mntana is not allowed esibhedlele.
Sure.
Uyabona? Wayenechomi ke ezingamantombazana. Uyabona ke Nelspruit, I didn't have anybody mna. But he had many friends ezingamantombazana. I was very accommodative because I trusted him, I can say, or I wanted to trust him. I didn't think ukuthi angaba ne relations nalaba abasisi. Yabona abanye futhi bebebadala nakunami, yabona. So I would just look at all these people and be like,
It's just
"Sitshomi
friends,
zakhe,"
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then kwakhona yena le ifriend le yakhe uyabona yandifonela yabuza uright nathi I know ndi-right sisi uyabona, and I was very respectful mina. Usisi wakhona bekethe uba mdala kunam, so I was bendimrespektha nje straight uyabona. Hayi ndamxelela hayi ndi-right akho nto uyabona, bese-right ke then wabe ese-Eastern Cape yena.
So
Uyabona uba
you're 9 months pregnant.
9 months pregnant.
And this female friend of best friend of his who's older than you, is calling to check up on you.
Yes, is calling to check up on me. The right sis. And then that brought comfort to me. Ukuthi, okay, there's someone then. Kusho ukuthi if ndizahamba ndiyobeleka,
There's at least a sister here.
yes, ozothatha umntwana uyabona. At that time I was also naive. I didn't even think ukuthi umntwana mangaba in danger at that time, you know. Xa ndiyoboleka athatha umntwana and all that uyabona. Luckily for me, I didn't give birth until he came back. Right when he came on Sunday. Hey, kodwa uNkulunkulu mkhulu, guys. Yazi uThixo, yazi xa ndijonga back to what I went through. He came on Sunday. On Monday I gave birth. On Monday on Monday. Yes, it was on Monday I gave birth. Ndahamba ndabheka esibhedlele. That's when at least he was there, but he was at work at that time. Uyabona. Ndahamba ndabheka esibhedlele. Hospital, intoni? I-government.
Yeah.
Yes, I gave birth there. Wabuya umntwana ke gula ke engekho right because udoctor wakhona wathi hayi wena une stress. Lo mntwana umgulisile lo mntwana. Because now uphuma nesi stress sakho. I couldn't talk. I couldn't tell anybody at that time. I don't know why. Wahamba umntwana wabheka esibhedlele wayolala esibhedlele for 10 days. Ingake ngoku akancane ndiyancancisa. Amabele agcwele Nkosi yami agcwele ubisi abhlungu umzimba ubhlungu yonke into ibhlungu nje dilele kweso sibhedlele yabona, and nobody's going to help me in a private hospital, you know. No, he was in a private hospital.
Yeah.
So andinekho medical aid mna. I can't even ask for painkillers.
Yes.
You understand? So I was just there nje yabona. So waze wabuya kumntana waba right, thank God. Hayi ke saqhubeka nempilo up until ke ndabona ukuthi nje after the third child we have 3 children.
Okay.
Well, umntwana ugcina wafika naye. Like I was angry at myself as well because when he came umntwana ugcina, it was after I made it clear to him ukuthi nje hey yazi intoni ayisebenzi le ndaba yami now. I tried mna on my side ukuthi ndihlale ndiqhubeke nawe, but hey ndabona mana ayisebenzi lento uyabo. Wavela umntana wesi-3. I still continued and said yes, ikhona umntwana and everything, but I don't think I feel like continuing with anything. Yeah.
Okay.
But bengekaveli then umntwana. I was only few months pregnant, and remember we're not yet official as ilendo. So what yena ufuna ungixelela into bana abantwana soze nje babe semtshatweni yabona. So nje kahle wena wandenza ngathi ngoku mina bendize kuye ndizofuna abantwana.
Yeah, and I just want to leave.
Uyabona?
Yeah.
And then even ke ngoku ne-families sezi-intervene ke ubana hayibo what's going on ngawe yabona. Sendiqala ke some family members zakokwabo sebeqala bendibiza idikazi ba hayibo ufuna uba lidikazi for the rest of your life. Mna sebesendibona nje uba andisafuni mina utshatela kule family yabo. Not in particular ukutshatela kuye because the family yakhe has been very, very supportive.
Sure.
So nje ndavele ngena emtshatweni yabona uba
By
ndisangena.
default, ne?
Hey,
Yeah.
ngoba ndiyabona into yobana hayi le nto bandibonisa yona nyhani ndithi makuthweni.
White wedding, people are kikizing, happiness.
Hayi. Yahamba ngendlela afuna ngayo. Mna never had a white wedding in my life. Andiyazi mna loo nto into lithetha ngayo. Andiyazi mna i-white wedding. Yeah, yonke into, he was very controlling in everything. I would try to say, yazi mna, this is what I want. Yes. That time ke sendisebenza ke ngoku as a financial advisor, commission earner. I didn't like it that I got pregnant because it means I'm going backwards now. Yeah, because the commission earner.
Yeah.
Remember now, ndamisisha izinto kuyabhetha uzobhetha uyabona. And there was this guy bedimnikeza imali eva still hayi mna nje andiyazi mhlawumbe bentyisiwe bethuna ndazi yaqala because nje the way bekwaba ngakhona. So ubhuti okay wa manager ke ukundiconvince ke ukuthi nje let's do have umchado mase. I mean abazali they are expecting this and all that yabo. Fine, ndavuma samba. We signed for Home Affairs. Okuse Home Affairs, yes. Wasa sign Home Affairs kwenzeka umchado. You know, kuthiwa intoni by default it's a
Incommunity of property. Yeah.
Yes. Hayi kwahlaleka nje kwaku 2012 that time ndisa pregnant umntwana wes3. Hayi nyani ke and umntwana wafika. Yabona kuloyo umntwana. He was very supportive. He went damcela into bana ndiyalunywa and that hands akuxelela xa ngabe ndifuna ukuhamba ndiye esibhedlele yabona. I think maybe because I was already driving by then. Maybe he was thinking, hey, this one is going to take a car. Yabona. He ungumuntu oyoyika isini, ungumuntu oyoyika amehlo. So I think he was thinking for him that I have a reason to think like that. Yabona. Not necessarily ukuthi ubecingela mna. Yabona. So wafika lapho ke sesihlala ko triple story now. Is life nje say big say right yabona ngakomhlanga rocks kanje le ko Durban hayi ke wafika nyana wanthatha wansesibhedlela I gave birth. He was there all the way. He took pictures and everything and then waniphathela ukudla yonke leyo nto leyo. In my mind I'm like, oh okay umuntu uyakhula umuntu ukhulile uyabona. So I continued ndahlala hey aqala phansi kakade ayobuya umuntu ngo4 ekseni. Dithi kanti suke kwenze njani nje kulamadoda? I mean, I was asking myself that question.
Yeah.
Ngoba kuku right yonke into right. Uyabona? Kusuke kwenze njani nje? Uyabona? And andikwatele uyazi ba ebeyikwata into anti nje mabe ngisebenza as a financial advisor ne. Bendihamba nditravel. Ndiye kuphi ndifuna clients, uyabona? So ebevele xa ndibuya umuntu uqumbe usisifu. Ndiyokwenza imali for thina, uyabona? But hayi uqumbe usisifu and uyilanhlobo ithanda ukuphila impilo big but that he cannot afford.
I hear you.
Yabo leyo nto besiko that triple story siphila lo mphilo abacinga afani babantu besi afford but no besingayi afford and ke mina ke andifuni inconvenience. One thing enemy yami in this life is inconvenience. I don't care ukuthi umuntu uthini mina xa driver i-Tez uyabona ihamba indisa apho iBM ibiza undisa khona uyabo lonto. So yena he was a total opposite. He's still a total opposite. Uwenza izinto for amehlo
Flashy.
wabantu. Yes, even now into le X class X into le
The Mercedes van.
Mercedes van.
Yes.
Unalo nto leyo uyithathe the time si divorce. Wathatha neCleo bendihamba ngeCleo mna the time sisachatile yena ehamba ngalo Mercedes Benz leyo yabona. The time si divorce ndawina icase yokuthi ukumela maintain ecourt wazithatha imoto zoyi2 emkanazo. Kunabantwana kumele nibahambise esikolweni ebendibahambise esikolweni.
Are you still staying in Mhlanga at the time?
No, sesibuyile ke ngoku sesizohlala eDurban eJoburg.
Okay.
Uyabona. Sorry, I was thinking about time. Okay, eMhlanga sikwaye saye semka samuva.
Okay.
Uyabona sihamba sizohlala eDurban eJoburg.
Yeah.
Nalapho futhi ukufumana kwakhe umsebenzi.
Yeah.
Akanixelelanga. I'm the wife, remember. So akanixelelanga uvele wa decide nje into bana yena uvehlala eJoburg siyahamba.
Okay.
Uyabona. Okay, I submissive. You know, so I have to be submissive. Fine, ndizahamba nento dama aphihamba khona. Uyaqona. Nyani sahamba ke sazofika eJoes. That's when I couldn't take it now. Basifika eJoes.
What's happening in Joburg?
Asifika eJoburg, sifikela eMidrand ne. Hayi, okokuqala before ahambe, washiya somewhere eDurban wasikhupha apho besihlala khona kule triple story. Washiya somewhere apho bekhona 2 beds in a flat nje ethizini. Bekhona 2 beds and 1 bathroom. Sahlala apho yabona. In my mind was telling me, or I will say maybe it was the spirit, I don't know. But something was telling me ukuthi this one is trying to get rid of me now. But why did he even make me marry him in the first place? He should have let me just leave. But when I heard people were saying when I was talking about this, ukuthi abanye abantu bachatela nje ukufumana imali emsebenzini. Ndiyazi how true that is. Ukuthi nje ube ne salary ethe good because une family and all that. That's it. And I thought, okay, kusho ukuthi ndiyuziwe mos. Okay, fine. If unshiya apha it's fine, but uThixo akadlalwa kanjalo. You don't play with innocent people and get away with it. ukuhamba kwakhe washiya nabantwana le weze Joburg tukutuku bambamba inkunzi. I remember kwavele kwagula omnye umntwana pha endlini, the last born yagula last born yaphalaza last born. Ndithi hayibo into nizayithini le, cause nalapho kule ndawo sizawuya kuzo bazofuna i-ID yakhe.
Yeah.
Yabona, cause icard ndinayo medical aid from him anaye yam i-medical aid. Bese ndiyekile futhi nasemsebenzini bese ndiresignile.
Yeah.
So nguye futhi owacela ndiresign, by the way. Wathi hayi lento leyo lalo msebenzi wakho futhi nje commission, sometimes you don't earn, sometimes you earn, just leave, uyabona. And I could tell ukuthi nami nje, you know what, if anayi support yakhe ndizoqhubeka kanjani, uyabona. Ndahlala ndaphuma. So what happened now? Wagula umntwana useJoburg. Ndiyamfonela, hayibo ifone off. Hayibo kwenzakalani? One thing for sure that he demonstrated to me is that not ngabantwana bam. That's the demonstration. He demonstrated to me naba kwamanye abantu, they can even attest abanye abantu ukuthi nje he has an element of respecting the fact that abantwana bakhona and they need his attention and father.
Okay.
Uyabona, as though sometimes he goes left, you know, dinga understand kuba iphi ke ngokulonto bayeza kwenza olhlobo ebantwaneni still. So akayibamba ifoni, ndafonela ubhuti bakhe, hayibo akayibambi lo muntu ifoni, knowing very well ukuthi hayi ngeke zide zibe off zoyi-2 ifoni, unefoni ezi-2. Xa beyochecka le kanti ubebanjwe inkunzi, bamfika elele phaya, yonke into irongo idragiwe, kaba aphe beye khona, uyabona, udragiwe and everything, bathathe everything in the house, elele on the floor. Shuthi bangene naye because sihlala complex layer, so you don't, not everybody just
Easy
comes
access.
in.
Yeah.
Kushuthi bangene naye ngaloo ndlela bangene naye ngayo,
Yeah.
uyabona. So xa ndimbuza ke ngokuse right, ndibuza uba kwathini, what happened that time, uyabona, akafuni ukuyithetha. And ke ngoku inkhumbuza lento ndithethayo, sisajola singekatshati, uke wabethwa waba in coma ngabantu. Dabangambuza uba kanti what happened, uthi kwafika aba bantu baqonda straight kuye bambetha wakwikhoma. Andiyazi what happened, ndisambuza namhlanje and still today angakayazi uba what happened there. Okay, fine, ndayiyeka ke leyo. So nje nangoku ke ndiyambuza uba what happened, yabona, hayi akafuni uyithetha ke yona at all. Xa sendiva ke ngoku ngenye ngamanye we-family members, anti-family members zakhe ziyandithanda, ndiyazithanda, we have a good relationship, they love my children even, uyabona, they help where they can. So one of the family members told me ukuthi hayi nasi story, yabona, and then she told me ukuthi nje lo muntu ebesebha, uyabona, then wabona le ntombi inhle phaya and everything. I know ke witness yakhe leyo vele, he's been cheating nje, uyabona.
Serial cheating.
Yes, he's been cheating. I didn't really care about this cheating thing, you know, but my worry was my health in this thing. But anyway, dasazi ke story then ukuthi it had a woman involved.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why mose ngafuni nokunikalela, uyabona. Then I started laughing at the story. I was like, I will layekile, uyabona, you know. So nje, yeah, then later on that's talent dobana yazini. Okay, after that, he let us come now to Joburg. Yabona, shukuthi wabona nje into bana God's yoke, you don't test God like that. Yeah, I think so. Wabona kanjalo, sabuya ke seze Joburg. I think I was already besendithoswe out that time until God spoke, maybe, I don't know. So sabuya ke sahlala naye ke apha eGauteng. So ke asihleli naye ke apho saphinda futhi sabanjwe inkunzi. Bangena abantu ukuthi bangene phi njani, I don't know, ngoba i-complex. Kaba babona imoto ezibhalwe ND, niyabona, bangena bavele bavula nje ama-guns, yabo. So ndithi ke ngokuya after this whole yokuthi sibanjwe inkunzi, ndithi kuya hayi ngeke kumele ngabe siyaphuma apha, asikho safe here, let's find another place.
Sure.
Renting all the time though. Asinamzi, umuntu has been getting paid a lot of money, but asikabi namzi. Hayi angafuni abazulise le ndaba yokuthi siphume. Ndikena ke hayi ngeke. Uba ungumuntu obhadlileyo, you would see ukuthi ndiyazithethela mna, mama, I'm not saying that to him. Ndithi umuntu obhadlileyo would see ukuthi sisengozini.
Yeah.
And as a leader, he's supposed to get up and say, hey, ithi protect ifamily yam. Ndabona ukuthi hayi man, akuna protection here. Le protection mna ndandicinga fanele bikhona was never there from the very beginning. That's where I came to the realization yokuthi nje this place is not for me. This guy is not for me. This is just not for me. Yonke
year is
into
this?
eyenzakalayo.
What year is this?
It was 2018.
Okay, so you were officially in this for like around 15 years,
Yes.
married to this man.
Yes. So ndamxelela into yobana, look, I want a divorce, man. I'm serious right now. I really want a divorce. In fact, before I asked him for a divorce first, sisahlala eDurban, ndilibele loo ndawo leyo. Bendingasafuni ukulala naye, yabona ndingasafuni ukuba intimate. So wahamba wayodonsa amaphepha divorce. So ndiyabona, you don't play with the divorce. You don't play like that.
Sure.
You see, so where's that now? Did him now, why? What's going on? Uthi yena, hayi, kutsho ukuthi nje asoze siphinde sibe right mna nawe sign. Yabona, mna it was like, you know, and he's the one who's doing it. So even kasiya family, it would be like, he did it, you know. So I took the papers, I signed everything, you know. I don't know, I was waiting for ukuthi azonikeza i-decree athi ayike-announce ishayile, uyabona. Nothing. Ithi ke ngoku mna ndi-implemente ke ngoku. And mna this time mna it's not going to be a joke. It's not going to be into yokuthi kuthiwa into lento ndiyakuhlukumeza.
Okay.
Because yena wayehlukumeza mos.
Yeah,
Because wathi later on ndawaxazula.
Yeah.
Ndiyo ngengawuxazulanga because ndiyaphuma mna. I want to go out. That's why I signed them.
Yeah.
Wathi yo, hayi okay, ndayowalanda. Hey, he thought I was joking. My brother, I was up to here. Think I'm not working. I'm not working. Ndazixelela nje uThixo uyawubona uba undithatha undisaphi. Ndingahlala nasemkhukhwini ongena toilet kunokuthi ndihlale nale ndoda. I just want out. That's all I want right now. I want my children and all that. And he would have talks zokuthi he will take custody of his children and everything like that. Remember, I don't know much about umthetho andit. And I never had a guidance as growing up ukuthi what should you do when you are in this situation and everything like that. So he would use that to his advantage ukuthi DJ andizazi izinto ezininzi. I would think about this ukuthi how do I stay without my children if uthatha abantwana for custody. And in my mind I was like nguye futhi onemali. In my mind injalo ihamba njalo ukuthi kuzawunika umuntu onemali, yabona. Up until I did my own research and found out ukuthi it's not like that. Akunikwa umuntu onemali abantwana, kunikwa umuntu sober minded, yabona. And yena he wasn't. Umntwana ebekhasa pha ibhiya ihleli pha umuntu utipile. Ndithi uba bengambambanga umntwana ezawubamba ibhiya pha. Ngayisela umntwana ibhiya sicinge efana uba kwenzeke ntoni angafani ukufa kaloku umntwana. Uyakhasa lo mntwana omncinci lo. Uyabona? Ndayenza lo research leyo ndathi no, angeke azabafumana abantwana lo muntu lona. Ndizawuhlala ndihamba nabo anyway. Which I did. Ndisokola ndingenayo ndithi underwear. A second sister cousin, a second sister-in-law yakhe. Wandithatha lo sisi. Yeva, that's how his family are supportive towards me. Wandithatha lo sisi wayonifaka eGas andithengela ama-underwear. Yeva. And there's no thank you from him. Yonke lento yenzeka ndisatshatile naye. There's no thank you. Akafoni athi thank you sisi kwathini. There's another winter ndisatshadile still naye again. The other sister-in-law wafika abantwana bengenamaqawusi kuyabanda eJoburg. Kuyabanda. Wafika abantwana bengenamaqawusi eGodola. I told lo sisi and ebendichaza kusisi wakhona ukuthi bawoma abantwana xa efona. Uyandichaza even today makafona ba-right abantwana. Uyabona, what is there anything maybe I can do and everything like that, uyabona. And I'm never taking advantage of such people. You know what I'm saying? If I'm okay, I tell them no, everything is fine. Uyabona. Wafona lo sisi ngamxelela into yobana hayi bayagodola abantwana sisi siyabuya abanaqawusi abanantoni. Lo sisi lona wabuya wathi yiza that I drove to her. Wathi masambe wayothenga impahla zabantwana. It amount yonke lanto wayithengayo including grocery amounted to 9,000 something. Who does that?
Are you divorced now?
Yes, finally.
And what were the terms of divorce? Was it an easy divorce?
No, not at all. I'm still going through a lot because of that divorce. we're supposed to be taking things 50-50
Yeah.
in assets, in liabilities. But what he did, the time ndimxelela into yobana, I remember it started from Durban, ukuthi ansafuni, So then that's why he resigned from where he was working. He was working for another company, Spar, and then he resigned from Spar. Wahamba waya Voltex. I think I have Voltex. Obviously, come to resign, you have an option of taking your money or transferring it to another fund.
Yeah.
So now, instead of transferring it to Voltex,
Yeah.
he transferred it to Old Mutual.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So the time she divorced, in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to get half of what was from Spar and Voltex.
Yeah.
Ne? So when the money was received in my account, it was not the amount I was waiting for. And I was like, hey, but what happened? And then I asked Voltex, their funds are controlled by Bidvest, their money. So I asked Bidvest, what happens? But what happened? But they never came back to me because they couldn't. And I had to think very hard, what's going on here? And then I did research in okay, this might have happened. Ne? His family members, the times divorce, kept on warning me to check thoroughly ukuthi lo muntu lona akayithathanga imali wayisa somewhere else wayifihla na. In my mind, I'm like, hi man, who would do that? Nabantwana bayi-3 bakhe. No, I don't think so, man. I mean, that would be unfair. I never listened. I think they knew something. Remember, it's his family members. Yafika imali ndabona apho ukuthi nje ikhona into eyenzekayo ke ngoku ayikho le naye ndiloko ndimbuza into yobana siphi statement being told by family members ukuthi talk to him, ask for a statement is a previous employment so that ungabi ne-problem. Uyabona leyo ndambuza futhi ndayifaka kwi-email so ukuthi ndibe nenantsika ne-record ukuthi I asked him, ndambuza zangandiphendule zangandihoye. Ndayifaka kwi-email ndayithetha loo nto leyo futhi into yobana ndimbuzile ndithetha kulama lawyer ndandiye kuwo pro bono besendincedwa ngu-pro bono mna uyabona kuyo yonke into nangoku after idivorce ndaya kwa-pro bono finding out ukuthi kanti imali uyitransfere kwa-Old Mutual. I went to pro bono ndancedwa ngu-pro bono uba mandiyifumane into yobana okay makwenze olu hlobo but pro bono didn't do research yokuthi iphi imali ne. I had to come with information myself
and give it to them.
Because they said bona but akuna evidence, akuna ntontoni yabona. And I was like, okay, I have to do something here to get this information because now I don't have the information. I even went to the police. There's a guy called from NPA. I randomly sent an email kwa NPA ne. Then a guy came, his name is Baloyi, Mr. Baloyi. He came back, hey, the guy was very helpful. My brother, I don't know why, because he doesn't know me. I don't know him. I've never seen him. He never saw me. But he was very, very helpful. He told me, Ugutinje, what your husband did is fraud and is theft. You need to go and open a case in police station.
Where are we now?
Right now, the case is with the police. But I don't have any, it's not going anywhere at this time. I don't know. I'm still waiting for the report.
Are you on talking terms with your ex-husband?
Yes, we are on talking terms for the children.
Yeah.
He goes and I told, he doesn't come into my house anymore. I told him, you can see the children, but you're not allowed to be in my space. I don't want you anywhere near me. Really, but we do things, we talk about the children, and he goes and see the children. But that's it. I don't want to be more involved in anything, with him, honestly.
Do you still believe in love?
Yes. Oh, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I know, Guti, I will meet my husband.
Sure.
He is there. He's waiting for me. He is looking for me, I'm not going to die alone. No way. Yeah. No, I'm not going to allow that.
Yeah.
I still believe in love. The thing that happened in my marriage is that we were lacking a friendship. It was never there. And I always tell my daughter that, look, if you want to be happy in your marriage, have your best friend as your husband. That way, I don't think you will ever
Yeah.
go wrong.
We're in the final minutes of our conversation. What do you believe women should look out for or not tolerate when they decide to get married? And what's the common mistake that women tolerate?
Well, we see the red flags and we just push them under the carpet, you know. And the discernment, we have a discernment. A woman has a discernment, you know, and we choose to just ignore that. And then we continue because of the noise of the society. You see, you continue going into something you know is not going to serve you right. It's not that we go in there not knowing. Most of us go in there knowing that this is not going to serve me right. But because of the noise from the society, we just go in. And then who's getting the thingy? What consequences? Me. Nobody is there with me now. I did something to please people. Where are those people that I pleased? I am the only one now who's carrying all the burdens of that decision. That was influenced by the talks out there.
In this conversation, this colleague shared with me that from the beginning, at the age of 19, she did a lot of things out of people pleasing. She was taught to submit, to relegate her own identity. She left her whole life, she left her studies, everything, just to build a relationship with the man. It's an opportunity to reflect as women that marriage is not the end all and be all, and you need to have an identity outside of your own marriage. I hope you learned a lot from this conversation. I hope you grow. I hope you share this with others. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Sis Koleka, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much,
It's been a
Lungi.
privilege, and really, I hope the awareness that came with this conversation will build others.
Thank you so much, Lungelo. I'm sure it will. I hope so too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Introducing the epitome of luxury living. Kalu Luxury Villas and Suites, your private sanctuary of opulence and elegance. Nestled amongst the lush, sun-kissed landscapes of Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, this Kalu Luxury Villa is a paradise of tranquility, offering breathtaking panoramic views of the neighborhood. Step into a world of refined luxury where every detail has been meticulously crafted to create an atmosphere of sophistication and comfort. This villa is kept within a gated and secure property for your peace of mind. The Kalu Villa is available for both short-term and long-term stays, making it the ideal location for your next vacation or special event. This villa boasts spacious living areas and floor-to-ceiling windows that flood the interior with natural light, making you feel at one with the surrounding beauty, paired with multiple terraces, an outdoor lounge, and a dining area. Live the dream, make memories, and indulge in the life you deserve. Contact us today to book your stay or to learn more about this exquisite property. Your oasis of opulence awaits.